ultimately, a public apology is the first step towards rehabilitation. Only time will tell if someone is truly rehabilitated, if they truly have understood that they did the wrong thing. And if you ask me if, people can rehabilitate themselves, yes, of course I believe that. 100%. Is there an apology video or anyone could point out that would be good enough in the eyes of some people? Yes. This is what people recognize as like an apology that was seen as like the adequate apology. Now, it's ironic to bring this up, especially while, Justin Roiland is like under criminal investigation for domestic abuse. Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon are co-creators of Rick and Morty. But this is the one that people point to usually.
I gotta get it done. I've had people telling me I've had a lot of advice. Don't talk about it. You don't have to talk about it. It's done. Legal advice. Don't talk about it. You open yourself up. The most important advice I've gotten is from women that I respect, that do what I do, that are respected, and that spoke to me privately and said, if you're true to your word and you are sincere about how you want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, please talk about how you've been part of the problem. That's truly the most helpful thing you can do. Please appreciate, if you're listening to me, that the tightrope I have to walk here is I want to make this a normal part of the process, because it should be healthy and easy and graceful. It should be a thing that can be done and doesn't have to create civil war and hysteria. That doesn't make people get re-victimized and attacked. You're not doing me any favors at all. You're only hurting everybody, especially me, if this topic causes you to attack anybody involved. You may think it's in my defense. You may think it's in defense of fairness. I ask you to think about what you think fair is. That's enough disclaiming. I have really, really had to think about, this, and decided I need to talk about it. I want to target about 5 to 7 minutes, and then pull me out of here. After which, hopefully, I've done some good by just talking about this.
This is about Fro Your Life closing down, right?
Yes, Fro Your Life recently closed down. In 2000 whatever, I can't remember, 2009, 2006, 2000 something, I had the privilege of running a network sitcom, and I was attracted to a employee.
Her name is
really
Megan
want to be
Gans,
careful about that language.
who was a former writer for the sitcom Community, and had asked the showrunner Dan Harmon, who was her boss, to apologize for treating her cruelly at work after she rejected his romantic advances.
I think a huge part of the problem is a culture of feeling things that you think are unique and significant because they're happening to you, and saying things like, I had feelings for, and I fell for, and all these things. I mean, the most clinical way I can put it in fessing up to my crimes is that I was attracted to a writer that I had power over because I was a showrunner. And I knew enough to know that these feelings were bad news. That was easy enough to know. I knew that they ran the risk of undercutting people's faith in my judgment, her faith in her talent, the other writers' respect for me, the entire production, the audience. I knew that I wasn't doing anybody any favors by feeling these things. And so I did the cowardly, easiest, laziest thing you could do with feelings like that, and I didn't deal with them. And in not dealing with them, I made everybody else deal with them, especially her. Flirty, creepy, everything other than overt enough to constitute betraying your live-in girlfriend to whom you're going home every night, who is actually smart enough and respectful enough to ask you, do you have feelings for that young writer that you're talking about, that you're paying all this attention to? And saying to her, no, because the trick is if you lie to yourself, you can lie to everybody. It's really easy. And so that's what I continued to do, telling myself and anybody that threatened to confront me with it, that if you thought what I was doing was creepy or flirty or unprofessional, then it's because you were the sexist. You were jealous. I was supporting this person. I'm a mentor. I'm a feminist. It's your problem, not mine. It's you're the one that actually is seeing things through that lens. And so I let myself keep doing it. And
guys, you're saying is it cringe or whatever, but like, bro, this is literally him saying he's wrong for thinking this.
It's not as if this person didn't repeatedly communicate to me the idea that
it also goes to show that like it I mean, it really doesn't ultimately matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, he's reflecting on his wrongs. I'm surprised Michael said that he keeps doing this and he's like a piece of shit, which he would know better than myself. I'm not super familiar with like Dan Harmon's background or anything like that, but this is an apology that people hold up as like an otherwise like really good apology. And part of the reason why people say that is also because Megan Gans personally said that this apology was the reason why she forgave him for his actions. So that's something to pay attention to. Dude is in the middle of describing explicitly how he fucked up and got people typing yikes. Yeah, this is also, at this point, it's like years ago. At this point, it's years ago. And Megan Gans personally, like the victim in this situation, I don't know if there are others, but Megan Gans in this instance was the primary victim who said it's, that she understands where he's coming from. Now, if he's still doing shit like this, I don't know. I mean, that's entirely different. But regardless of that, this is what is otherwise seen as like a good apology.
What I was doing was divesting her of a recourse to integrity. I just didn't hear it. And it's because it didn't profit me to hear it. And this was, after all, happening to me, right? And so after a season of playing it that way, I broke up with my girlfriend, who I had lied to the whole time while lying to myself. Lied to her about why I was breaking up with her, because I thought that would make having inappropriate feelings for a coworker appropriate if I wasn't involved. I want you to be the one to examine this and every step of the way decide for yourself where I'm making mistakes. I don't want to explain to you what I've learned. I want you to look at this.
By the way, again, I'm not saying like Dan Harmon is great or anything, right? But like, there are some people in the chat that are like shitting on him for openly talking about like all of the individual things that he did that are wrong. And like that was your expectation from Andrew as well. That's where you said he fucked up. You know what I mean? So what, like, are you saying that he is not like, so there is no good apology, which in many instances, it's true. There is no really good apology. As long as, and for people to say it strikes me as performative, of course it's performative. This is still a performance. Yes. Every public apology is a performance. Every public figure that does a public apology is engaging in a performance. Okay? Because otherwise, if they don't do this, then what the fuck are they supposed to do? If they don't say anything, then, they are unironically reinforcing rape culture for sure. Like their silence in that circumstance certainly I think would be worse. If anything, if you can offer a sense of comfort to someone you have traumatized, then, you know, it's a good first step. It's a good first step. But what's insanely important in this process, significantly important, is something that only time will tell. Okay? And that's why I said, I don't know if he fucking is a better person now. Okay? I don't know. I don't know if he changed. I don't know if he's a better person. I don't know if he like legitimately no longer engages in this kind of behavior. If he does, then, you know, if he does, then that means that he just used this as a defense mechanism originally. It makes it worse. But ultimately, a public apology is the first step towards rehabilitation. An acknowledgement and an apology is the first step. Only time will tell if someone is truly rehabilitated, if they truly have understood that they did the wrong thing. And if you ask me if, you know, people can rehabilitate themselves, yes, of course I believe that. 100%.
And I want it to sound relatively unremarkable to you because that's the danger. I broke up with my girlfriend, then I went right, you know, full steam into creeping on my employee. Now it was even less appropriate after all. Now I wasn't in danger of being a bad person. And then after that season, you know, I got overt about my feelings after it was wrapped because now, and said, "Oh, I love you," and she said the same thing she'd been saying the entire time, in one language or another. Please, don't you understand that focusing on me like this, liking me like this, preferring me like this, I can't say no to it, and when you do it, it makes me unable to know whether I'm good at my job.
What?
And because I finally got to the point where I said to her, "Oh, this is, you know, I love you," because that's what I thought it was. When you target somebody for 2 years, and it was therefore rejected that way, I was humiliated. And so I continued to do the cowardly thing and continued to do the selfish thing. Now I wanted to teach her a lesson. I wanted to show her that if she didn't like being liked in that way, then, oh boy, she should get over herself. After all, if you're just going to be a writer, then this is how just writers get treated. And that was probably the darkest of it all. I'm going to assume that when she tweets about it, you know, and refers to trauma, that's probably it, because I drank, I took pills, I crushed on her and resented her for not reciprocating it. And the entire time I was the one writing her paychecks and in control of whether she stayed or went and whether she felt good about herself or not.
What? He's literally just digging himself a bigger hole. Yo, that's the point. What the fuck? Like, listen. That's literally the point. He's talking about how objectively wrong he was. He's talking about how all of the fucking awful shit he did. He's literally step by step addressing it and saying he's sorry for literally doing those things. That's the point. He did these things. They were fucking wrong. Holy shit. It's the point. You're bringing up what he's doing in this circumstance. and saying that that's like inappropriate or something. Yes, he's explaining exactly what he did that he knows is wrong. If your goal in writing an apology is to openly state what you did was wrong, then don't get mad at the person who is doing exactly what your expectation was. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because he is engaging in self-examination and criticism, and he's aware of what he's done that's wrong and apologizing, hoping that like it is a good first step. Ultimately, I think when you've done something wrong, when you've wronged someone, that's it. You've done the thing, right? That part is over. There's nothing you can do to like go back in time and change it. It's over. You've done the wrong thing. Which is why I always say the first step is recognizing it. Second step is apologizing for it and taking accountability for it, which is exactly what he's doing here. And if the victim in this circumstance recognizes your apology, as Megan Gantz did, and says, like, this is helping me heal, I felt vindicated, then, only time will tell if he engages in repeat behavior or not. Okay?
And said horrible things. Just treated her cruelly, pointedly. Things that I would never, ever, ever have done if she had been male. And if I had never had those feelings for her. And I lied to myself the entire time about it. And I lost my job. I ruined my show. I betrayed the audience. I destroyed everything. And I damaged her internal compass. And I moved on. And I never did it before, and I will never do it again, but I certainly wouldn't have been able to do it if I had any respect for women. On a fundamental level, I was thinking about them as different creatures. I was thinking about the ones that I liked as having some special role in my life. And I did it all by not thinking about it. So I just want to say, in addition to obviously being sorry, but that's really not the important thing, I want to say I did it by not thinking about it. And I got away with it by not thinking about it. And if she hadn't mentioned something on Twitter, I would have continued to not have to think about it. Although I did walk around with my stomach in knots about it. But I wouldn't have had to talk about it. And the last and most important thing I can say is just think about it. No matter who you are at work, no matter where you're working, no matter what field you're in, no matter what position you have over or under or side by side with somebody, just think about it. You gotta, because if you don't think about it, you're gonna get away with not thinking about it. And you can cause a lot of damage that is technically legal. And hurts everybody. And I think that we're living in a good time right now because we're not going to get away with it anymore. And if we can make it a normal part of our culture that we think about it and possibly talk about it, then maybe we can get to a better place where that stuff doesn't happen.
And to correct something in the chat, I don't think that every chatter is like calling for the death of Andrew or something. It is, like I said, totally understandable to not accept Andrew's apology or to consider it to be not meeting the bar that you are supposed to clear with respect to addressing things that you have done that are this wrong. Okay? Also, your acceptance in this matter does not really, it does not play a role. Like whether you accept his apology or not, it's not your apology to accept. It's supposed to be the victims. They need to see it, hear it, and say, you know what, I do believe that this person who was inflicted trauma on me is truly trying to heal. And I think part of the problem is considering the reality that, like, objectively, a large percentage of the public is never going to ever be charitable towards you ever again. If you are truly interested in restitution, if you are truly interested in rehabilitation, I think your center focus always should revolve around the victims and trying to make it better for them. That's it. Because, like, ultimately, you know, there is a reason like there's a reason why most people just immediately fucking hit the this is bullshit, it's fake, and, you know, men's right activism dial in circumstances like this. Because one, they're misogynistic. Those are the actions that started off your lack of interest in recognizing what you're doing is wrong to begin with. Okay? And two, some people think like, well, there's comfort there. There's acceptance there for your actions. And in most circumstances, people don't want to think about it. They don't want to recognize that they've harmed someone. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, but of course, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's not an easy thing to do because ultimately you are the responsible party. Is men's right activists wrong or misogynistic? Well, both. They're wrong because they are misogynistic. Yes, my TikTok account is banned. Yes. Wait, what? So women's rights is misinjury? Okay. I want to cease to exist sometimes when we're talking about something so complicated, when we're talking about something so delicate, when we're talking about something so toxic, and motherfuckers come in here and go, oh, it's time to debate the chat or the streamer. I will take advantage of your good nature, allowing people with only a 10-minute follow to be able to say whatever the fuck kind of dumbass thing they want to say in the chat. So what I'm going to do is basically turn around and use this as an opportunity to get my voice heard in this chat by not being productive at all, but by being a fucking jackass. I'm trying so fucking hard to be better at dealing with chatters and not immediately perma them. But I'm sorry, some of you motherfuckers are real dumb, dude. Some of you motherfuckers are so dumb that you don't even realize that the top of the hour ad break is upon us and we're moving away from this conversation.